Oh my goodness. Come with us. It's not a strip guard, there's a few people you might...
Is this a little shop?
Right, thank you very much.
I'm overwhelmed. You're lovely. You really are lovely people. Thank you very much.
Just here.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Joe McLean, and like gentleman on here this evening, I'm an old sailor, not quite as old as him. Jealous?
We carry it well.
But joined just a few years after you, and have heard an awful lot about you. I do know that you spent your days in small ships. I never had anything quite as small as your ships, but had one or two destroyers. But I was brought up, when I joined the Navy, by a chap called Peter Dickens, who was the great-grandson of Charles Dickens, yeah. And he was a motor torpedo ace, and his chum was a fellow called Peter Scott,
Yes.
son of Scott of the Antarctic.
Yes.
You were in the Med, in small ships, and I don't think people would know what happened in the Mediterranean in those days, but it was a situation which really saw us start getting our own back during the war.
Exactly.
And if you haven't heard of names like Taranto, where the Fleet Air Arm took out all the big Italian ships in harbour, when flying swordfish aircraft, you know, the old biplanes. Matapan,
Yes.
the battle off the southern end of Greece, which you would have been well aware of, where we not only took out the Italian fleet that was left at sea, but they never showed their faces again. Off they went. The battles of Crete, where we lost a lot of ships trying to look after our soldiers. Lots of them were sunk, and many crept back into Alexandria. The way in which the North African coast was bombarded by people like yourself, and all the infiltrations and things like that you did. The number of submarines that we had out there, many of them sunk because you could actually look down from an aircraft into the clear Mediterranean and see submarines, so a lot of them were taken out. We really brought the Axis to a halt and started turning around when the Battle of Alamein came up, and we won for the first time. And those who were in this country at the time will remember that for the first time we were able to ring the church bells again, because ringing church bells meant you'd seen parachutists coming, and so everybody really got cheered up about that. But it was chaps like you and all the thousands who were out there with you who really showed the opposition that we were here to stay and we weren't going to be run over. Your particular line, the inshore work, you were subject to mines, you were subject to bombing. You bombarded other people. There's one place called Bardia where the Italians were about to make a big infantry assault, and in these small ships went and bombarded it and virtually brought that movement to a halt. So it's with tremendous pride that I'm chatting to you today, and I know jolly well that those who know you, your darling daughters, Brenda, Sylvia, Christina.
You might know if I'm stunned at the moment.
Are you all right there?
Yeah.
Not that don't often happen.
Speechless. Speechless.
You should be good for another half hour. You're not half
I can't repeat no stories now.
But you can see he's an amateur. He's not half as bow-legged as they But a lot of small ships did incredibly well on that North African coast.
Very proud to be on it.
Yeah, and the gunboats that can you believe the gunboats shallow draft that we used to run up the Yangtze River before the war? We loved the names like the Aphis and the Bee and the Ladybird. They all came along.
The Amethyst and the...
Yes, the Amethyst, and the Terror was a monitor, had a big 16-inch gun.
Do you know, nobody believes me when I tell them about that one.
Yes. Refer them to me. Dear Friar, you know, as a fellow sailor, you've made me immensely proud to have met you and to be in your company. No, I'm not at all. what I would say is, Bill Fryer, this is not your life, but it's actually your medals.
Oh my God.
The story behind this is apparently one of the girls, and it's not Christina because she's adamant that it wasn't her. Sorry?
Definitely wasn't.
It definitely wasn't her. She looks a bit of a brute, so I'm not going to argue. Took them to school and lost them. And it's out of the goodness of the hearts of those who admire you, in particular, I think, David Gallimore, that I'm delighted. I'm not going to pin them on you, because it's sure as good as I'll get you a bust as I do it. So there you are.
Everybody here, you've been fabulous to me, and I would like to thank you very much, all of you. And you've grown up to be a family to me. And I'll do everything I can to forward the club in every way I can. And thank you, everyone. And you listeners as well. You've been good to me as well. Thanks, Steve. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year, all of you.
And you. Pin them up. Bill, back to work now, mate.
Right, Bill, don't take it in notice because you can have the rest of the night off.
No, he can't.
We will stop you, none of that.
That is the biggest pain I've ever suffered. No, you're very good. Thanks everybody.
I'd like to say thanks to the Bill's family and Dave for organising this, and Rear Admiral Ewan McLean for coming down to
And it's not a George Cross and Maxwell. I was too busy ducking.
Lovely.
It's done off for luck. Sailors old hands like this.
You got more walk-on tonight, eh?
Fucking lovely.
The gold ribbon that one is, isn't it?
One more.